Oh no, we're live.
We're live. All
We're
right.
live.
So
Oh,
let's see. The Twitters are going out.
oh, my Twitter says
Retweet.
we're live. Let me retweet.
Let's retweet from every possible account, and everyone on different Slacks already knows about us. So hello, everyone out there on the interweb. If you're tuning in live, awesome. If you watch this after the fact, awesome as well. We're glad to have you. Our goal with RevolutionConf this year is to give our attendees a little bit of context as to what our speakers are all about, what they do in their personal and professional lives, and then tell us a little bit about their talk, or in your case, Sydney, a workshop.
A workshop, yeah.
So today, I'm glad to have Sidney Andrews. I've known Sidney for years, and it's a pleasure to have you with me today. And I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about you, that maybe something I didn't already know, and talking to you about your workshop here at RevolutionConf.
And just to put things in context, I've known Kevin. I went to one of Kevin's user group talks while I was at VCU in college. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I don't know who I'm dating here, but we go back.
Mm. Do you remember what the talk was about?
No idea.
All
It
right,
was
me
kind of
neither.
our professors kind of forcing us. Yeah, I need to go to user groups, and I just, oh, this is a waste of time. Now I kind of do it for a living. So,
Yeah, I know what you mean. So let's get started. First, I like to preface. Let's do this. You're doing a workshop at RevolutionConf. It's called Azure Application Services, and we'll talk more about that here in a couple of minutes. But first, I want to know more about you. What do you do? Who do you work for? Let's kind of start from there.
okay, all right. So, what do I do? Why did you start with the loaded question? I have no idea what I do for a living. Um, Fundamentally, the thing that pays the bills, I write training for Microsoft that we donate to a nonprofit. So it kind of sounds weird, but it's a nonprofit, edX.org. And Microsoft Philanthropies, you probably heard the CEO went and said, I'm just going to give away a whole bunch of money. And then we actually got to spend that money. He said he's going to give away. And we found out edX was putting free college-like courses online. But the problem was you have geeks at Microsoft, tech people. I came from a background in education where I actually taught at J. Sargent Reynolds up in Richmond. I've taught high school level. I've even been a TA at a elementary level. So I come from an education background. I just happen to be in technology. So that kind of, we just had that whole synergy moment where he said, I'll teach y'all how to write courses and y'all teach me the tech stuff. And so that's kind of what I do for a living. Who am I? I'm just a regular person. I'm a true believer in the whole thing. If you put enough time into something, you study something, you'll eventually be the expert at it. There's nothing really. I don't have a special path that led me into what I do, but as weird as that sounds, I believe anybody who's listening to this video right now could probably take my job in 2 years if they wanted to, because I don't do anything particularly special.
Awesome. Yeah, I say the same thing sometimes. It's all a big game we're all playing, and we're all in it together. And that's kind of the background behind RevolutionConf, is that we just want to unite all these developers together. And it's not about competition. It's not about taking someone's job. It's about just learning from each other. And so you and I have been doing this for a long time, and I still learn from people every single day. It's continuous learning. It's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, definitely. I'm kind of glad you say you're always learning. And so I come from an education bent. As long as people are willing to learn, I have a job. And
Yeah.
if more people want to do, like, I specialize in Azure, but I also, a lot of people don't know this about me. Everybody knows Sidney's the Azure guy, Azure MVP for Microsoft, yada, yada, yada. More than half the courses I wrote for edX around like Angular 2, JavaScript, HTML for a more open audience. So it's, as long as people are willing to learn, I'm going to always have a job. And if more people, let's say more people learn Azure, that's just me more training I can sell. So if you want to learn free stuff, if you want to do user group talks, people say, well, why do you give so much of your time? Because it always pays off in the back end. You know, it's always not just good karma, but it's actual business sense behind it.
Yeah, definitely. So you've told us kind of where you are now. I mean, know you went to VCU, but let's give folks a little bit better idea of your origin story. How'd you get the software development bug?
Oh
Where'd you get
boy.
started?
So it's funny. I actually 2 weeks ago I was at my high school doing a panel, and they asked the same exact question. I was in high school, and I liked playing Halo, or no, was it Halo? I like playing PC games. And our guidance counselor said you should go to computer science. I didn't know what computer science was. She didn't know what computer science was. Yeah, I'll just go to VCU. So I went to VCU for computer science and almost flunked out. It was not my thing. But then eventually I got more confident. I got my feet under me. I started taking some information systems classes because my computer science professors are hardcore Java. Java is the end all be all. You'll never program in another language. Don't worry about it. All these other languages are fat. Java is the kingdom. So I went to the information systems department, and at the same time, taking a Java class, I took C# classes, and I participated in what's called Microsoft Imagine Cup, which is a competition Microsoft hosts for college students. I got to go to Tulane. I got to compete in a regional tournament where we had 4 hours to try to build image manipulation software, rotate, skew, inverse colors. It was horrifying, but it was kind of good to be in a room full of people who are all we all had the programming bug. We're all college students. Even though we were competitive, we all went down to Bourbon Street and got a little inebriated. So we all had a good time. And I think that moment when I was around other people, and we weren't. This is a true story. If you made it into the top 20, you got an automatic interview with Microsoft. But remember, I was a computer science student at VCU. Java is the future. I even said, no, I declined my interview. Let number 21 get it, because I was number 18. So, because I was like, I would never, ever work on the Microsoft stack or work for Microsoft because they're a horrible, evil company. And Bill Gates is he's the devil. I know, I'm not kidding. I said all this to people who actually worked for Microsoft at the time. They were from the Raleigh, North Carolina office. So I was really indoctrinated. And then I went into one thing I always recommend to everybody, you got people in your family, friends who are going to college. I'm a true believer if you work through school, it'll help you out, especially on the back end. So I started working. I got a job in VB Script, got a job in ASP.NET, did some XAML, that's Silverlight and WPF for people who don't do a lot of Microsoft stuff. And eventually just kind of climbed the ranks, went to consulting firms, kind of did the traditional job path. And then one day I was doing some Azure stuff, and I had a boss, and he said, I think that's going to be the future of Microsoft. But I'm going to take a risk because I know my manager doesn't approve of it and let you study Azure for 3 or 6 months. I had already been doing stuff with it, but like formally become an Azure consultant at their firm. And I thought it was a really bad idea, but we went with it. So he's had many beers because of this conversation, but I owe him so big. And then one day I got a call from somebody at Microsoft saying, there's not a lot of people who really know Azure. We need to write a course on it. Do you want to do it? But that requires you to leave your job because it's a full-time gig. And so I took it up. I ended up becoming a vendor for Microsoft. And that's how I kind of fall into, that was my very first course I wrote. Then I realized I like writing courses more than programming. And as weird as that sounds, when you write courses, not only, most people think writing courses, you're writing text, right? When you're writing courses, you actually write proofs of concept. So you're writing a whole bunch of lab applications and demos and examples. So whenever something new comes out, the day it comes out, I'm writing an example of it. So that everybody always say, I'm frustrated in my job because they announced Angular 4 or I don't know, Angular 5 is coming soon or something like that. And I can't try it yet because my job won't let me. Well, my job is to try it before somebody asks me about it. Because somebody asks me about it and haven't tried it yet, it's embarrassing. So it's kind of a flip. I know, Kevin, you know a lot about that. You've written courses yourself too.
The hardest part of writing a course, and really for me, the hardest part about teaching something is you have to develop a story. You can't just go in and start saying, here's cool stuff. And you have to go progressively into it. Because for me, so many people have different backgrounds. Some folks might already have the 101 level stuff. or someone has nothing at all. And you need to start from the basics and just build on one topic after the other. And but it should be this continuous storyline. It's just like you're watching a movie. If a movie just kind of jumps from one scene to another, and there's no cohesion behind them, the movie's not going to make any sense. It's not going to be any good. Training's the same way. If you can have all these separate topics, but you have to have a theme behind them that connects them together. So when you go from the first minute to the last minute, you follow the story and it all makes sense, and then it should all make sense when you sit down and actually do that work for real.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of glad you brought up the story thing, because I have a perfect example around Angular 2. So I wrote an Angular 2 course. In it, you build out. It was with TypeScript, Angular 2, and Visual Studio Code. We built a Yeoman generator, and everything was fine. You used HTTP library, the HTTP module. You built out some UI using Bootstrap 3. I was updating it to Angular 4 and Bootstrap 4, but Alpha 6, and at that point I just wasn't sure. It didn't have a kick, it didn't have a draw. So then I just sat down and said, what would I want to do if I'm sitting in a lab and want to learn Angular 4? And it wasn't me, it was my 7-year-old who came up with the brilliant idea: Marvel. So I went, and sure enough, Marvel has a developer API. You can go sign up, get API key there. So those cards we were building in Bootstrap, all of a sudden those are characters. We were building pagination and showing how to filter based upon the dropdown. All of a sudden we're choosing how many people we want to return back, maybe a set of 15, 20 results. You search by characters, prefix, so like spider, and it brings back anything that starts with spider, and then we render the images and everything like that. All of a sudden HTTP client's interesting. And I found myself, I did the lab 3 times, not because I only needed to validate it once, but it was just kind of fun because it was the Marvel. Now it's the Marvel Angular example. So the story we're telling is we're building up all this stuff so we could deliver a cool solution. And yeah, you're right. That's fun, especially boot camps and stuff where at the end we do something wacky. It's no feeling like that.
Oh, I want to move on to my next question, but I actually have some viewer questions that's worth throwing out now. The first question, so actually these 2 questions are from Troy, and Troy says, can he borrow a board game?
Yes. My problem is my wife and I are in a townhouse. It was we were very fortunate. We brought a townhouse on what was considered a bad side of town when we moved in, and now it's actually an upswing because just that's how real estate works, right? It's too small, so we have a massive board game collection. What you see here is actually, this is IKEA, so this is one column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 columns of board games.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I actually have to. It's a whole wall built. As a matter of fact, this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm just gonna rotate my camera for a second.
Here you go, Troy.
Everybody. There's board games on the bottom, Lego architecture kits on the top. I keep generic board games like Risk and Monopoly in case people come over on the other side. But no, on this side, this is the fun. So I think this was Troy saw Ticket to Ride, Catan. My favorite one right now, Troy. Just let me know who you want to borrow. I'm happy to bring that up. It's Smash Up. Because my 7-year-old, he figured out Smash Up. He can't figure out Yahtzee, and I don't have the heart to tell him it's the same game.
So you should bring a couple down with you to RevolutionConf.
Yeah,
because that's the perfect thing to do after hours. Just set up board games.
We was at the Microsoft Certified Trainer Summit, and we actually went to a board game cafe. It was a restaurant where they bring board games to your table, and we just played for 6 or 8 hours. And they don't actually push you to get up. You just tip them a little better because you eaten up their table for a long time.
Nice. All right, let's move on. We've talked about just kind of you personally, your background, how you got here. Let's dive into your Revolution talk, the meet. You're doing a workshop, and earlier today we talked to Kevin Old. He's doing the AWS workshop that we're going to have at RevolutionConf. And one thing someone might notice if they go to revolutionconf.com is we don't have descriptions up yet for our workshops because we're working alongside with you to get that description built. But your workshop is called Azure Application Services. And maybe give us a little bit background of if I'm an attendee and I'm choosing your workshop versus several sessions that I could go to at the same time. What should I expect going in? What level should I be going in? And what should I expect to get out of it when we're all done?
Before I describe the workshop, I'm going to just throw my hands in the air. There's lies and fabrications on my name right now. I sent my description 2 weeks ago, but and I probably sent it to the wrong person, so that's probably what happened. Yeah,
We'll
so
fix it in production.
Yeah, it's no good unless you do it in production.
Yeah.
I went to a place yesterday, just talking about the same type of workshop, and I was like, yeah, the new pattern is to not ever have RDP access to production, and their hits exploded. So as far as the workshop goes, I wanted to create something approachable that you don't have to know a specific language. So Azure has this component called App Services, which is apps. That's pretty much it. I call it the GoDaddy of Azure. So if you want to host a function like AWS Lambda, or you want to host a web application, if you want to host a ETL workflow where you drag and drop the different workflow components, even if you want to host the API with Swagger documentation, those are different apps. So API apps, logic apps, function apps, web apps. So what we're going to do is we're just going to piece them all together. So we're going to build out each one individually. We're going to use different types of databases. Right now, I'm debating between DocumentDB and MongoDB. I'm not 100% set on that, but I know we're going to use a little bit of SQL. Use different databases, use different frameworks. Like right now, the function app is in PowerShell, and I'm thinking about switching it to Bash. So
Nice.
You can actually run a bash script as a function in Azure, which is insane. But that's why we're doing it, because what's the fun of doing things the normal way, right? And then the web front end is in Angular. One of the API tiers is in .NET Core. So the idea is just we just have all these different components, and you don't have to know any specific language. A lot of it's just deployment and configuring, getting familiar with the Azure portal, and getting in there and just trying it out. It's really exploratory. What I hope you get out of it if you come to the workshop is I hope you just get to try things, and more importantly, I hope you have the opportunity to ask questions, because it's going to be lots of what I call hands-on time, where I'm floating around trying to make sure nobody gets stuck or things like that. That's the time to say, yeah, SQL sucks. How about MySQL? And I'll say, well, you're in the lab right now. If you want to try MySQL, here's how to spit up a MySQL instance. Or you say, DocumentDB, but my whole team uses the mean stack. I know. Oh wow, I'm dating myself. My whole team uses the. I know it means not cool anymore, right? My whole team.
I wouldn't say that, sir.
Hey, I've been on the 757 dev Slack. They told me was old. Am I not to believe the Slack?
But I don't know anymore.
So somebody might say, I want to use MongoDB instead of DocumentDB. And I showed them how to flip DocumentDB to MongoDB API. So while we're going to have the happy path, I kind of expect people to ask questions and experiment. Because what we do when you do an Azure workshop, we give you an Azure pass. So even after the event is over, you can go home and break stuff. And I would be very, very upset if people didn't go home, or even while they're still at the event, because I'm the first workshop. So I'm there for 2 days. If you go in your hotel room, break something, and then flag me down, that would make my day, because we get to sit there and talk shop. I love talking shop. So yeah.
Yeah, we've said before, there's plenty of opportunities at RevolutionConf to network with the speakers. And like you said, if something breaks, and thank you to Linda in the chat for reminding me, we have a chill room basically for this sort of thing. If you just need to find a table with some power, that we have you covered. So go to the workshop, learn something, then go off and break things.
So are you proclaiming that you have enough outlets? Because that's a dangerous claim.
We've gone to our AV company and said we need power in these rooms in particular, and he said, "Yes, I got you covered."
Oh wow! I'm gonna bring you like 12 things to plug in. I'm gonna test the limits of the AV room.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or chill room. Sorry, chill room.
So yeah, we asked him for power, and he said, I got you covered.
I'm so excited. I've been to so many conferences where they're like, we have a power room. You get in there, there's 4 outlets and 500 people. So I'm glad RevConf thought of that. I remember last year, people were talking about there's places to chill, relax, pop your laptop out. So if I encourage, like as an attendee, if I had to encourage you to do anything, is to interact with the speakers after the sessions. That's why we're there. I mean, many of us have egos. So we want you to come in and ask us questions because it makes us feel good. We can go back to our boss. Yeah, 3 different people asked me questions. Give me a raise. I'm open for it. I'm pretty sure I watched almost, I think, every video except for one today, and everybody else is open for it. So you'll see us floating around. You see us in the showroom. I'm glad I have the first workshop so I can spend the entire rest of the event just talking to people.
Oh well, we can move it. I mean, I
no.
All right. So Sidney, you've been down in this area many times. So as a someone who's been to Virginia Beach several times before, is there anything you would recommend someone to check out if they're in Virginia Beach for the first time?
I'm the worst traveler. I go to places all the time. Like I've been to Virginia Beach many times. I don't know anything down there. I've been to a restaurant. I think I went to a hotel once when I was in middle school. I've been to Seattle 20 times in the last 3 years. I've never been to Pike Place or the Fish Market or anything like that. I'm not a tourist. I don't know. I'm one of those. I'm a homebody. So I go somewhere and I'm ready to go home and crawl in my bed and go to sleep. So the thing is, don't be Sidney. When you get down to Virginia Beach, try stuff out. If it's at least was it Guy Fieri's restaurant?
Yeah.
The Cat Cafe. So now I'm starting to build a list.
You've been paying attention.
I've been paying attention, and it's Virginia Beach, so I'm bringing my wife, and this I think our first time we're taking the 7-month-old on the road. Well, he'll be 8 months by then. So hopefully she will encourage me to do more touristy things. The one rule we have is when we go as a family anywhere, and I recommend any attendee to follow the same rule: don't eat anywhere you would eat at home. Yes. So if you're coming in from out of state to RevConf and you go to McDonald's, I'm sorry, we can't help you. There's a chill room. There's lots of people who are local to the area. The majority of people at the event are local to the area. Just flag one of us down. Hey, what's good eats? Well, maybe not Alta Brownish, but yeah, what's good around here? And I'm on the Slack. I'm sure somebody's going to start the conversation next month. All right, where's the great places to eat? Where should I book a reservation? Well, maybe it's a boardwalk. You probably don't even need a reservation, but
because we're at the oceanfront. One of our speakers, he actually lives 5 minutes away from the venue. His name is Brett Fisher. He's doing a Docker workshop.
Yep,
and he is our go-to guy for any recommendations at the oceanfront. And Brett has the best taste in restaurants, him and his wife. So go into the RevolutionConf Slack, say, where should I eat at the boardwalk? And Brett will come in and give you 10 options. He will even curtail it towards your dietary preferences. It's like, oh, well, you're doing a ketogenic diet. You should go over here. You really want seafood? Go over here. Or you just want some good wine? Go over here. And, plenty of us, we're all locals, where we're here to recommend tons of places, and we like to recommend places that don't take you too much effort to get to. There's a lot down the Virginia Beach oceanfront to gather, and there is a McDonald's, but you have to pass at least 10 good restaurants to get to McDonald's. So you should go to those other 10 restaurants.
So you get 10 warnings before the bad decision. Yeah. But now that you brought up Brett Fisher, any attendee, watching live or recorded version of this video, I will tell you, if somebody recommends a place to go, or they say, hey, I'll go with you, take them up on their offer. Just real quick, a side story. A lot of the opportunities I've got in my career was because I went eating with the right person. So true story. And I'm going to protect the last name to protect the innocent. But there's this guy at Microsoft called Larry. I've known him 5 or 6 years now. Every time we go to like a Tech Ed or Ignite or a big major conference, Larry says, we're going to pick a night and we're going to go out to eat. Doesn't matter, build any Microsoft conference. One night, Larry's going out to eat. There's a group of 12 people who usually go with him because Larry has never led us astray. When we was in Vegas, Larry took us to Mario Batali's restaurant and we had every dish and every wine on the menu. When we were at Build, San Francisco, Larry took us on a 12-block walk to a Japanese restaurant where you had to enter through the alleyway, but we had an entire private room and private chef dedicated to us the whole night. And we did a sake taste testing of every sake on the menu. We also tried dishes I don't know what they're called. I just know they were good. When we went back to Vegas again last year, Larry took us to China Poblano, a Mexican Chinese fusion restaurant, and he had us do the chef's tasting special. The chef picked out our menu and had us there for 3 or 4 hours, just trying everything. And with somebody come up with an offer because one, you get amazing food, but two, Larry has mentioned my name in at least 6 different conversations that led to contracts. Because you're the first, like, if I'm not putting anything on Brett's shoulders, but like anybody you talk to, they're gonna go out, eat lunch, eat dinner with you, talk maybe breakfast. They'll talk to you, you hang out, and then next time they're thinking about something, they're like, "Do I need an Angular? I need an Angular freelancer for this project." Oh, I remember I talked to Steve, or I talked to Susan. These are horrible generic names, by the way. I talked to Susan or Steve. We were out for dinner, and I remember they said they did Angular, and they are always looking for side work. That's exactly how like the majority of my contracts are done. It's because, hey, we went drinking 2 years ago, and I remember that you said you do Azure. I got a project. Can you help me out?
Yeah, I've been the same way. Most of my consulting over the years has been just word of mouth and knowing people who know I do things, and it helps tremendously. And I will personally promise now, if you go have dinner with Brett, he will add a 0 to your salary.
Yeah.
So that's a. You think I'm wrong?
Have you seen Docker salaries? Yeah, that's an understatement.
And I'll put a plug out there for him. He has a new course on Udemy that's all Docker, and it's really cheap right now. You should go buy it. So he's paying me to say that.
He's a sponsor, right?
He's speaking, so he is a sponsor because he's helping make this conference possible, just like you are.
I'll tell you this. I met a high school student at a user group. We did never do this person was a high school student. He's just been coming to the user groups. We just thought he was a colleague. And he said, "No, I'm a senior at the local high school." What? Huh? And so we ended up pulling them in on 2 different projects because we needed somebody who was entry level and who it was testing, mostly just testing online courses. And that's just how it happened. All he did was he hung out after the user group meeting and just made his name known. He even gave his business cards. What high school student do you know have business cards? But this guy had business cards. And now he made really close friends with the leader of the Richmond JavaScript user group. And the Richmond JavaScript user group leader can't stop talking about him. So yeah.
Get involved. It doesn't take much. Just show up, and the rest can kind of happen by itself. Awesome. So you are a veteran conference attendee, conference speaker. One question I love to ask to speakers who have been doing this for a while is, a lot of our attendees will be first timers. So RevolutionConf is their first experience of conference life. What recommendations would you give to a first-time conference attendee?
That schedule plan that you put in your notebook, throw it away. It's not going to happen. You're not going to go to every single session you listed out. You're going to find yourself in conversations talking to people. Well, you don't want to. Obviously you want to go to sessions, but you don't want to miss out on an environment. Because and I've seen this happen, like go to a Visual Studio Live or I go to one of the major conferences. I've been to smaller conferences too before. And RevolutionConf is not small. RevolutionConf is kind of in the middle to me. It's kind of the right size where it has the local feel, but it's starting to feel like a bigger event. It's bigger than a code camp, that's for sure. And so when you're in an event like this, if something social is happening, you see a huddle of people, don't walk by that huddle of people to just go sit in. If you're in your session 15 minutes early and you're the only one seated in the chair on the front row, you're missing out on the social aspect of the conference. So go meet people, network. Even if you're not looking for new opportunities, just connect with people, talk shop. If you're in the same session as somebody, you're walking out together. Well, what did you think of that session? If you want to come up and shake hands or introduce yourself to a speaker, do that too. The social aspect of the conference is the one. My very first conference I missed out completely on. It took me 2 or 3 conferences to figure out, but the social aspect of the conference I think is the biggest value. Meeting people who do what you do, having that what I like to call that network of support. people that they'll start saying, "Hey, have you joined the Slack?" Or they'll say things like, "Hey, have you been going in this user group? You might know some of the big user groups, but they might make, oh, well, there's a group of 5 of us to meet up at so and so." I think I went to Richmond, a much smaller RevolutionConf event, and I found out there was a DevOps user group in Richmond, and it was ran by Snagajob. CarMax and a big AWS consultants company were all co-organizers, and they actually talked about what they did. And going to that, I never would have heard of that if I didn't was just hanging out in the hallway and somebody's talking about what user group? Hold on, let me pull up my phone. Meetup app. All right, what is it called again? Tap tap tap. I went to the first meeting. My mind was blown because they were talking about Salt Stack. I ain't never heard of Salt Stack before. They're talking about Salt Stack and I believe managed Docker. Like, to me, I haven't even done containers yet. What do you mean? It's now containers as a service. I'm now 3 iterations behind. So it's just you just getting in that social aspect. You absorb a lot more than you think. You absorb the technical stuff in the talks, but you also want to absorb the social if you can.
Yeah, really. Geez, Sidney, you're not doing containers. I thought you were an expert here. You need to up your game a little before RevolutionConf.
I'm still doing PowerShell. I'm still doing DSC and manual. I just got off a 2-day engagement where everybody's doing things on IIS, and I'm like, really? Okay, if we have to.
Well, that's awesome. So now to one of my favorite parts, self-promotion. I know you're doing the education stuff. What would you like to promote? What should people know about what Sidney does?
So I think you've been reading the Skype chat, or no, sorry, the Slack chat, because you told us it was going to be shameless self-promotion, but then everybody said, well, time for shameless self-promotion. Yeah. And then you get to me and you just say self-promotion. So I can't be shameless because I'm going to be shameless. Absolutely shameless.
It's been a long day, Sidney. So give me a break.
Give me a break.
Be shameless. Go.
All right, absolutely shameless.
Look, I'm just blocking the camera. Be shameless. I'm not paying attention.
All right. So on edX, I put out free stuff. You can buy a certificate, sure, but 95% of the people audit the courses for free. We got courses on developing Azure. We have an architecting Azure 400 level course. Those are the standards. But I'm putting out new stuff. We have some Angular courses that just came out. I just put out a course on NoSQL, so Cassandra, HBase, Mongo, DocDB, Azure Storage, NoSQL solutions in Azure. I put out an HTML course that lived well beyond my usefulness. Now it has like 6 TAs and it's all managed. So all that stuff's out there. As far as the other self-promotion, I do training. So if your company ever needs Azure training or you just need just some guidance and stuff like that, that's what we do. But as far as Richmond and stuff is concerned, we want to do more free Azure events. So on April 27th, we're doing our first free Azure bootcamp in Richmond based on the success we had with Camp Azure. Thank you so much for RevolutionVA for making that happen for me. We're doing Azure bootcamps, and I just got approval to do 3 more in the Richmond area. So I don't have dates for them yet, but we're going to be throwing free Azure bootcamps, no sales, no anything like that. It's me. It's not a Microsoft employee. I'm just telling you what you need to know to make a intelligent decision. You don't have it's not like, well, you have a salesperson coming around. It's like, so can I sign you up for service? Because I've been to those. No, not at all. This is all technical. And the very first boot camp we're going to do in April, late April 27th. It's on Meetup. The very first bootcamp we're going to do is Xamarin in Azure mobile apps. So stand up your mobile backend in Azure and then doing your front end in Xamarin, iOS and Android. The second bootcamp we're going to do is using JSON to deploy your assets, infrastructure, and applications to Azure. So if you're a dev and you like JSON, I'm going to teach you DevOps so you can put another asterisk on your resume, put another 0 behind that. So again, that's the goal this year is just to have a lot more free Azure events. And I think Kevin's already got on my case. We're going to try and get one down in Norfolk, Virginia Beach. That's all I got.
Awesome. All right. So last but not least, where can people reach you on the internet?
On the interwebs, you can find me. The best place to find me right now, if you're is on the RevConf Slack and on the 757 Dev Slack, because I don't know why, but I'm far busier in there than in the Richmond Dev Slack. Twitter is
Richmond Slack goes through spurts. It's like nothing, 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 nothing. Continuous chatter. Nothing, 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 nothing.
you know, it's really great. Our Slack leader, he tells he has we now have guided conversations. He'll say something controversial every Wednesday morning and debate, and it's great. I think right now we're arguing on what constitutes a junior developer and what a junior developer salary should be. That's kind of like just walking in a room, leaving a grenade, and walking out. He hasn't come back yet, but we got like 50 responses to the thread, so it's pretty fun. But Twitter is Sidney_Andrews. Sidney at c#run.net. It's all over the RevConf website. I'm not corporate. So if you got questions, if you just want to chat and stuff like that, my email is not a corporate email. It's my email. So it comes straight to me. If I suck at RevolutionConf, send it to Kevin at I'm just kidding. But
send it to Eric. That's ERIK at revolutionva.org. And yes.
BCC me.
Well, awesome. So everyone out there, thank you for hanging out with us, Sidney. If you want to come see Sidney's workshop, which is easily worth 4 times the price of RevolutionConf, go to revolutionconf.com and tickets are still available. Sidney, we have dozens of other speakers all here to educate and network with you. So go get your ticket now, right now. Sidney, thank you so much.
Before we drop off, can I say one last thing?
Yes.
Kevin's not kidding. I'm delivering the same course that we're doing in the workshop, actually for a corporation. We're charging $2,000 a seat.
So what you're saying is we should raise the price of RevolutionConf.
I didn't say that. Don't put that on me.
All right. So get your ticket now before we raise the price of RevolutionConf.
There you go.
So, all right, Sidney, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone else, enjoy your day.